All right. Welcome back everyone dito sa latest episode ng JNR, RNJ, whichever way you wanna have it. Yo, eto na. May bago tayong record, 12 p.m. and 11. Mag 1 a.m. na, pero habol pa rin tayo kasing laki ng eye bags natin, yung ating excitement to discuss itong mga pangyayari. Thank you so much again kay Attorney Jess Falsis for making time. Kapatid, thank you so much for making time for us. The reason we wanted to get this also out of the way is because I think mahalaga yan, ha? Tsaka I saw you throughout the day, meron ka rin intervention. Ako naman, obviously, I love Vico is a fantastic guy. At the same time, of course, I also come from TV51 News and in the interest of journalism, I have to be fair to all sides. Kaya kanina sabi ko, um, I hope hindi ma-weaponize itong latest allegations ni Vico, itong latest brouhaha or something maybe deeper than that to cast aspersions on the entire mainstream media industry. Kaya sabi ko, ako, my take is, journalists have to guard their ranks, no? If there are indeed questionable practices happening, I think it has to be called out. Hindi yung automatically just defend for the sake of defending. At the same time, of course, ayaw rin natin na magkaroon ng dangerous precedents kung saan any popular politicians, not Vico. I mean, Vico, we know we no question about his sincerity, but you don't want to also create a precedence whereby any politician can just come out and make really big accusations, no? So I understand why medyo conflicted yung responses of different people, but Attorney Jez, since you're the truth bomber, what is your read of this whole episode? Medyo mahaba-haba interventions mo eh.
Ang dami, multidimensional, di ba? So na-mention mo nga, I think it's Vico's first real controversy. Because before, di ba, if you notice, pag nagpo-post si Vico or meron naman siyang tinitirang issue, hindi siya talaga nagkakaroon ng backlash or flack.
Right.
This is the first time I think na medyo, hindi major. Mas madami pa din, majority pa din sumusuport. Pero meron ng serious questions about tama ba yung ginawa niya? Or may evidence ba siya? Kasi to be
Yeah.
fair naman, pwede namang sabihin nga na hinuhugot lang niya yun out of thin air. So where is he coming from? Of course, yung mga supporters niya would understand where he's coming from. Pero to cite or state a number. Kasi ang glaring, 'di ba? Napaka visceral nung 10M. Pag sinabi mong 10 million just for an interview, wow, ang daming pera naman noon para lang bigyan ka ng platform. Let's say, even if Julius Babao or Corina Sanchez, kung yun yung sinasabi ni Mayor Vico, to be fair kay Mayor Vico, hindi siya nagpangalan sa post mismo, pero meron kasi siyang picture or caption or ano ba to, photo na ginamit na nandun si Julius Babaw tsaka si Corina. But so going back to those two, even assuming meron silang 100,000 followers or subscribers sa YouTube. I'm not sure, baka 1 million na, no? Let's say baka 1 million si Julius Babaw, consistent naman siya sa YouTube. 10 million is still a big amount, no, for an influencer. So sabi natin Julius Babaw is not a journalist. Kung siya ay influencer, ang laki ng 10M, either as a placement, as an endorsement, as a advertisement fee, malaki yan. So that's the first, no, yun yung pinaka first controversy talaga ni Mayor Vico, because the number that he cites is such a shocking amount, and normal people, even you, even me, it's right for us naman to ask, where's the evidence? But outside of that, outside muna of the evidence, no, it's a serious discussion given the other things that he raised, which puntahan ko na unless may questions ka, no? Si Diskaya kasi, eto, pwede mo tong i-clip. I'll give you
Ito
a
yung
sound.
Sarah with H. Ito yung Sarah
Sarah
with
with an
H.
H.
Yeah.
Honest, di ba? Kasi yung isa, Sarah without an H. Ito, soundbite to. I think this is the reason why Mayor Vico posted this. Hindi ko pa to pinost sa Facebook. Ipopost ko sana kanina kaso wala akong time eh. Busy ako. In fairness kay Mayor Vico, I can understand where he's coming from. The reason why I think he exposed etong interviews na ito ng mga Diskaya is not really because of BBM, not because of the flood control current issue na talagang lahat pinag-uusapan. Aside from that, part na yun, no? Pero ang pinaka-reason na nakikita ko dyan is because mayroong legacy building and vision na nakikita si Mayor Vico 2028 and beyond. So, many people might say, panalo na siya eh. Why go after this kaya? Why discuss that? Yun nga, panalo na siya. And he's on his third term. So, makikita mo to sa statement niya. Doon sa short sentence na sinabi niya, what if hindi ako malakas? What if iba yung kalaban ng mga diskaya at iba yung kinaya nitong mga media blitz na madaming interview, nag-humanize sa mga diskaya, nagtapon ng pera, assuming, yun yung sinasabi niya, nagtapon ng pera, ang mga diskaya, 10 million per journalist, 10 million per influencer. Ako, swinerte ako, malakas ako, what if iba yung kalaban mahina? Which is 2028. We're not sure if merong malakas na successor. Kahit si Vice Mayor Dodot Jaworski pa yan, kahit i-endorse ni Mayor
So
Dutton.
you're saying this is about what could be done to his anointed successor who would not have the kind of shield that he has, which is his celebrity, renown,
Maybe, but not necessarily. I'm
but
not
not
looking at the
necessarily.
anointed successor. I'm looking at, I think it's a certainty. Tatakbo ulit ang mga diskaya. Definitely in 2028 because ganito yan eh. Kahit magalit ang mga diskaya and lahat na ng contractors ngayon nabubulabog, 'di ba? It's a fact. Madaming contractors gusto maging congressman. Why? Eh kasi contractor ka, 5 to 10% ka lang ng pizza pie. Eh kung ikaw yung congressman, 20 to 25 to 30% ka ng pizza pie. So nakikita nila, oh sige, ipon ako, billions. Meron ako 5 to 10% as a contractor. That's not enough. You know, greed is never satiable. Sabihin nila yung mga billionaires, bakit pa yan magnanakaw? Bakit pa yan papasok ng politika? Eh, mayaman na sila. Unfortunately, once greedy, always greedy. No offense. Ganun talaga. It's a
Just to be visual about this, no? I'm giving you a pause because I imagine we might get into danger there. But how many cars did they have? Like four? Like
40. More than 40. And
I mean,
how
God,
big of a parking lot and building do you have to
it's like
get
a
40
mall.
plus?
It's like a whole mall. I was thinking like, ano kaya maintenance fee nila per month?
May maintenance pa yan, correct?
Millions ang maintenance yan. Lalo yung mga Rolls Royce pa nakita ko or something. My God, like, how much money do you have to like, dozen? Tsaka yun nga, like, how many cars do you need to feel good about life? I'm saying that as someone na, I don't know, lalaki, typical lalaki. Mahilig talaga ako sa car. I love cars. Bata pa lang ako. I've been always obsessed. But 40? What the? Tapos yung ibang car nila para magkamukha lang, magkana like, why would you
Why,
have to
that's not true. You did not watch the whole feature. Kasi ang sabi ni Sarah Diskaya, the reason why they buy a luxury car is if may kakaiba bawat luxury car. So may Rolls Royce na may payong, meron namang isang kotse, I forget ano yung brand, may dalawang champagne glass sa gitna, tsaka
Oh,
chiller.
they have a
Oh,
nuance taste. Parang Michelin star.
mga perks,
Yeah,
oo,
parang
mga
variation.
features.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Hindi kasi
Wow.
tayo mayaman, hindi ka kasi bilyonaryo, that's why you would never
What?
understand.
But you want to relate, like, okay, para sa ating mga hampas lupa, like, okay, like, do I want like 5 MacBook Pro na different yung you gonna say, like, parang ganun ang dating niya sa akin. Do you have like 6 iPhone 16 na parang different color? Parang ganun kasi ang dating niya sa akin. Again, I'm saying that as someone who's not
You can't imagine that now, Richard, kasi wala kang 10 billion plus eh. If you have billions, what are you gonna do with the money? Except spend it. Ganon eh. No offense sa mga bilyonaryo. Kaya, ano yan eh, it's a never-ending chase of the money and of the perks and of the adrenaline rush in spending. Ganon talaga yung mga bilyonaryo. I mean, some billionaires might prove me wrong, di ba? But those are the exception. We all know, Richard, na even if one is not like the others, maybe isolated case lang yan. What I'm saying is the majority, the general rule. Balikan ko lang din si Sam Versosa. Eto, hindi naman to against Sam. Si Sam Versosa has so many luxury cars as well. Pero di ba binenta niya? Binenta niya kasi ang isang reason na
for
sinasite
charity,
niya,
ganun, for charity.
hindi, dahil tumakbo din siya for charity at saka fundraising. Tulong na lang daw niya sa tao. Pero na-mention niya, ang dami ko ng luxury cars, nakailang taon na sa akin to. Ang laki ng maintenance. So I might as well sell it, 'di ba? And ipantulong daw sa tao. Eh ang laki ng maintenance. So yung sinasabi mo kanina, 40 plus cars in a building that can accommodate all of that. maintenance din, how much OPEX, ano yung operating expenses. Baka kala ng mga tao, inggit lang tayo sa bilyonaryo. We know economics. We know yung mga OPEX and CAPEX tsaka yung mga revenue, ganyan-ganyan. Ang taas niyan. So where do they get the money?
Kaya nga, like, so we had a previous episode trying to analyze gaano kayaman si Harry Roque na willing to give tens of millions for a campaign. Because there's a logic, right? You shouldn't spend more than 0.001%. So like, wow. Kasi indicative wealth yan eh. Yung operating cost mo lang ng kotse mo, it gives you an idea how much is the net worth of this person. Unless, of course, it's such an easy pogo-like money that and ang bilis mong yumaman na you didn't develop the kumbaga yung hygiene, financial hygiene, right? Kasi mga rich, successful people na hindi overnight at hindi nakaw at hindi kakaiba, they develop a certain financial hygiene kasi they understand the lay of the land, financial sustainability, di ba? So, you could imagine also some crazy level of parang indecent level, obscene level of expenditure if ito ay yumaman ng sobrang dali at hindi ito daan ng acumen, no? So, we're not against billionaires who became billionaires because they invented something amazing, right? I mean, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk nowadays for his politics, but I never like parang he didn't deserve to be a US billionaire. Like, no, the dude, like he came up with some interesting, developments, especially as a SpaceX.
And Elon Musk doesn't buy luxury cars. He reinvests his billions into a new business like
To
SpaceX,
create the cars.
etc.
Exactly, he creates cars, right?
Yeah, and he made yung Tesla truck, 'di ba? So yung mga rags to riches, ang problema ko kasi sa defense, no, ihalo na natin kagad yung issue talaga na pinag-uusapan natin. May defense na it's a feature story of a rags to riches na story. I have to dispel that. No, 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 maling-mali yun. Sorry, Julius Babaw and Corina Sanchez. Hindi rags to riches in na Diskaya. Because ang totoong rags to riches, yan yung talagang everyday, kumikita lang yan ng tubong lugaw. Yung talagang, yung pinaghirapan niya tapos nagka-break, yung talagang sumikat na yung business. Ito kasi, doon pa lang sa sagot ng mga Diskaya while you're interviewing them at hindi na sense ni na Julius Babaw or Corina to follow it up. Di ba yung nag-viral na, yumaman kami since nag-DPWH kami.
Yun nga eh. Like, I wonder, was that self-incriminating a bit too much? I'm sure there's a broader context to that, but why would you say that? Yumaman ka when you got involved with a certain like, was it too brazen? Like, did they feel impunity for like no matter how much context you put after that, parang I don't think there's a way out eh. Na yumaman ko nagkaroon ng
Impunity.
government connection.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of money can breed sense of impunity. Looking at our national politics, if the Discayas look, yung ibang contractors nagiging party list congressman or nagiging district congressman, that breeds a sense of impunity na, bilyonaryo na ako kasing yaman ko tong mga congressman, kliyente ko lang yung mga yan eh. Actually, ako nagbibigay sa kanila ng SOP. Yan yung thinking ng contractor. So definitely, magkaka-sense of impunity ka given i-connect din natin, Richard, di ba? When you file your SOSE as a senator 2022, we have two senators in question na nag-declare doon, wala silang naisip na, baka ma-discover ako. That sense of impunity. They stated a contractor as one of their donors. And then ngayon pa lang, 2025, COMELEC Chair, George Garcia said may 4 senators based on SOSEs submitted. Ang SOSE is a statement of contribution and expenses, which is financial disclosure ng mga
Wait,
elected
four
officials.
officials, right? Hindi four senators, right? Like four,
Yes.
four officials.
In general yun, SOSE
Yeah,
for
yeah, sorry.
everyone.
Yeah.
But yung SOSE ng mga senators, sabi ni George Garcia, there's at least 4 senators na merong contractors na donors. So, i-connect ko lang balik kay Diskaya. If you say that in an interview, hindi mo namamalayan kasi nga you live in a world na everyone's a contractor, everyone gets rich if they're a contractor, and why not maging congressman ako? So, let's just admit na nag-DPWH doon kami nagsimula yumaman, etc., etc., which is unbelievable.
Although
But
medyo nagtinginan, I think yung asawa, yung hobby, medyo tumingin. Like, may moment I think there was a split second of, are we going? Like, is this gonna
sabi na
come back and haunt us? Ganun.
wala nang bawian, wala na yung bawian. Internet is forever. Oh.
And the fact that Well, I'm not saying that there will be editorial intervention, but if you made a mistake during interview like that, I think you'll push for editing out that part or something. At the very least, you'll try. I'm not sure I heard anything about that effort, assuming that could even be accommodated. But going back to this, Jez,
Yeah, going back to my original point yung sa 2028, what is certain is the Discayas will run again. Why? Vico is term limited. Second, the Discayas have a war chest that can rival anyone. Wala nang charismatic Vico Soto who can surmount the money that the Discayas can throw in 2028. And then third, nakita ng Discayas, oh, lahat ng mga contractor slash congressman may kanya-kanyang baluarte. Gawa din tayo ng baluarte natin, taga-Pasig naman tayo eh. Dapat pag-Pasig project sa atin yan. Baka sabihin nila, that's not true. Oh, pero naka-base sila tatlong companies sa Pasig. So, madami pang ibang reasons. But what am I saying here? I'm saying Vico Soto, by posting that, is actually anticipating the future and protecting future aspirants in Pasig because he cares so much about Pasig eh. Tayo hindi pa nga tayo sure ano ba yung susunod niyang gagawin no after maging mayor for 3 terms kasi he's been very cryptic about it or sinasabi niya hindi daw siya tatakbo. So kung totoong hindi siya tatakbo, ang tinitingnan diyan is how to defend Pasig from crocodile wannabes or from invaders na hindi aligned sa vision ng good governance ni Vico. You know, Vice Mayor, na-mention ko kanina si Dodot Jaworski, I'm not saying ina-anoint niya yan. I'm not saying ina-expect niya na si Dodot Jaworski yung magme-mayor. There could be other challengers. But kahit sino mag-challenge dyan versus the Discayas, they are very much at a disadvantage. Kahit i-endorse pa ni Vico si Dodot, because we know personality politics, swerte lang si Vico, galing siya sa showbiz family, may pangalan, matalino, yes, madami nang napatunayan, yes, pero ang laki ng charisma, ang laki ng popularity niya, galing dun sa pinanggalingan niya, sa background niya. So that's personal to him. And ang hirap niyan ipasa. Ang hirap niyan, alam naman natin sa history ng endorsements ng mga presidente or ng mga artista, hindi yan automatic. Hindi yan 1:1. Minsan may correlation, but it doesn't automatically follow. So I'm sure Mayor Vico is worried for 2028.
the kind of the preemptive strike logic makes sense to me because yun nga this is about protecting his legacy at kaya nga hanggang ngayon, he doesn't want to talk about his own plan in 2028. He rather talks about consolidation of what he has achieved in the past 2 terms. So that perfectly makes sense. I want to also add that the tone is quite different. I mean, I watched Vico during a campaign na galit siya doon sa campaign doon sa mga tao na kung ano-anong binabato sa kanya. So I've seen a defiant version of Vico. I saw also a very defiant version of Vico nung na-inaugurate siya again as mayor the other month. At palaban ulit. So this kind of idea of a palaban, almost balahura ng Vico katulad natin na balahura, is not new. But it parang may hugot ito eh. Like parang, oh, hindi ako apektado kasi sure win ako almost. Parang ganun ang dating. Pero grabe naman ang lantaran nito. For me kasi it was all, well, at least that one message you're gonna get from him is he was also disappointed with people from mainstream media who are engaging in allegedly certain kind of practices. He didn't articulate it very well dun sa, I mean, yun nga eh, like, if I want to provoke someone on Twitter, I'll say something like that, right? But if I'm someone known as more nuanced and careful, and I have a government position, and then on Facebook ko ipopost to, I just felt this is a bit unusual of Vico. I think it was a bit more spicy, punchy, edgy version of Vico, and that's why he got more mixed reaction this time. It's not the kind of universal support he tends to get among progressives and liberals. I saw a lot of my colleagues and friends in journalism coming out and saying, parang you're casting aspersions on the whole journalism industry. If you want to call out certain personalities, go ahead. But ang dating niya kasi parang, and not to mention, I would say, again, I'm not questioning Vico's intention, but I'm worried about the consequence of this. Sabi ko, this could also serve as an ammunition dun sa mga fake news vloggers ang kaibigan natin who use any kind of, I would say, not grievance, but doubts about mainstream media to actually fuel their disinformation networks, right? A big part of Rodrigo Duterte's strategy was to discredit the mainstream media and give momentum to their bloggers. Kaya ako, inis na inis ako dun sa mga kaibigan ko na iba, including people attached to my university and institutions na um, who would comment out and said, media, napaka ganito, bias, ang media, oligarch sila ng oligarch. Hindi, iba yung mga oligarch. But and then sabi ko, okay, go ahead with your criticism. Let's talk about it. And then, pero talon ka kagad dun sa mga complete fake news peddlers na zero accountability whatsoever to facts, editorial standards. That I found very troubling. And I saw quite smart people falling for that back in the day. Dahil sa sobrang inis sila sa supposed, real, and perceived kakulangan ng mainstream media, parang agad talon sila sa kabila. And I think the fear of a lot of my colleagues, and I feel it's a legitimate fear, is that yes, Vico is Vico, but we don't want to normalize these kinds of like basically categorical or seemingly, you know what saying, like by shooting from the hip kind of attack, or at least yun yung dating ng mga ibang kaibigan natin. Because I could have imagined if Vico added a few lines of caveat, respeto pa rin sa mainstream media, this is not to say, you know, like if he added just two sentences or even one sentence, I think it could have come off different, which makes me think medyo baka emotional si Vico when he said that. You know, like again, I'm not questioning his intention. I'm just saying maybe he was a bit emotional. And I say that because we also make sometimes statements we don't regret, but we say, I'm sure if I were not as angry, no matter how righteously angry, I would have put a little bit more caveat there.
Let's explore that because you're absolutely right. It was very emotional, if not egotistic, no? And this is with all due respect pa din to Mayor Vico. And I actually support him, no? All politicians have an ego, no? And all politicians, kasi when you're a politician, why all, no? When you're a politician, kasi you try to woo. Nanliligaw ka sa mga voters eh. So you love support, you love people's applause. When you're being criticized, kahit na magaling pa yan, kahit progressive like Vico, it will still affect you. It's just a matter of how they approach or how they react to it that makes them better than other politicians. But ang point ko dyan, lahat ng politiko may ego. From Mayor Magalong to Mayor Vico to Richard Gomez to Martin Romualdez to BBM, they might not display how they react in terms of how they're criticized. It's not the same. Iba-iba yan. But they all have egos. Now, as to being emotional, I think, ang tinitingnan ko kasi dyan, the Discayas were the first legitimate, strong challenge to Mayor Vico. Kasi tingnan mo yung kanyang political history, no? Yung first takbo niya, he was the underdog. So he was not expecting much. Alam na niya malakas yung kalaban, alam na niya ibabato yung lahat ng sa kanya, tapos hindi iniipit siya. Hindi siya pinapa-campaign sa mga ganto ganyan. Kailangan mag-guerrilla campaigning siya, tatayo lang siya diyan, iilawan siya ng mga tao, etc. Alam niya yon kasi underdog siya. Tanggap pa niya yon eh. Okay? Second run niya, sino bang lumaban sa kanya second term? Parang wala. Meron ba? Hindi serious, no? Hindi legitimate, hindi malakas. Yung first, underdog siya, nanalo siya. Okay? Malakas yung kalaban. Pero, etong pangatlo, iba. Hindi porket hindi nakaupo, like yung kinalaban niya noon na dynasty, eto hindi pa nakaupo, pero mas madaming pera. Nagtapon niya ng pera this 2025 election. And I'm not saying yung 10 million ka na Julius Babaw or Corina. Nagtapon yan sa campaign. Nagtapon yan in terms of really running on the ground. The Pasigueños will know. I will not state anymore what I mean when I say nagtapon yan ng pera. Meaning gumastos talaga yan. So, Vico Soto, oh my God, grabe ang lakas. That's one. Second, di ba may nag-viral noon kay Mayor Vico yung mga taga Quezon City pala or taga ibang city tapos nagpo-protest kuno-kuno against dun sa
may mga hakot
crowd against dun sa kanyang billion peso na Pasig City Hall or city building. Gano'n, nagpo-protest. So, alam niya kasi kung sino nagpadala nun eh. So, naloka din si Mayor Vico, parang grabe, iba yung atake nitong mga kalaban ko, talagang bardagulan kasi iba yung na-experience niya nung first na takbo eh. Nakaupo yon, inipit lang siya. Hindi ka pwede sa barangay na to. Hindi ka papatulungan sa barangay captain na yan. Ganon. Mas official, mas formal. Etong, etong kalaban niya, sina Diskaya, talagang juggernaut. Lahat. Multi-dimensional attack. So I think na ano siya na parang personalan to ha. Aside sa good governance niya, good governance ako, itong mga to talagang lahat ng dirty tactics tinatapon sa akin. So, I can see why he's emotional because medyo naging personal naman. Pag tumatakbo ka talaga, Richard, sometimes it gets personal.
I'll put it this way. I'm glad that you took the conversation in that direction. But I also want to go back. Kanina you were pushing back against certain idea. Oh, walang kinalaman sa election yan. So you dated, I think there was one also in January. So hindi lang after October registration for COMELEC. So let's be technical about this, right? Kasi I think one argument is that, ay, walang kinalaman sa election yan. Kasi 20, ano yan, last year pa yan, hindi pa ngayon. But before going to that, ako kasi, remember, so Vico is very smart because he realized good governance alone is not enough. Parang you're just parang negative freedom lang yan, di ba? Like you're just making sure evil doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, ang hanapin ng tao is infrastructure projects and development. Kaya yung second term niya, he transitioned towards literally concrete projects, including yung City Hall complex na dinidevelop nila. And I think what happened is, on that issue, ang daming fake news and disinformation attack sa kanya. Right? So, my sense with Vico is, okay, gets ko na yung mga trolls, gets ko na yung mga hakot. And if he's assuming that may kinalaman tong mga trolls and disinformation na hakot sa certain personalities. And then you see even some people from mainstream media are going there, and from your perspective, they're doing, at the very least, you would say, reputation laundering, or even worse, you're glamorizing them, then you're really gonna feel bad. Kaya nga feel ko may hugot talaga si Vico dito na parang, whoa, wait lang, what's going on here, right? Trolls na nga, hakot pa nga, tapos yung ibang kaibigan pa natin na ano, biglang parang pinapapogi pa tong mga kalaban natin, di ba? So I think it's coming from there. Eh. Now, you said politicians are all of them not naman onion skin, but all of them have a certain level of ego because you need to have a sense that you're a savior, right? Otherwise, why would you be the leader? Right? Why should a million people listen to you or hundreds of thousands?
Confidence. O, di ba?
Yes,
Ego.
and that ego and confidence. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. As Carl Jung would say, ego is the royal road to enlightenment, right? So I'm the last person to speak against ego per se, right? But having said that, I think this is also coming from a timing, sense of timing. I think he sensed like, okay, he could see the upsurge of talagang galit lahat ng tao dito sa flood control, ang mga contractors and all. And I think he sensed that maybe this is the time I can really get it out of my system. Because anyway, he's part of the Mayors for Good Governance League. And Mayor Magalong of Baguio, who's also under fire right now for allegedly parang wait lang, bakit mo hindi pinag-usapan yung mga nangyari pa noon ng Digong, di ba? As Senator Trillanes posted the other day, let's also talk about flood control projects or anomalies that, by the way, Senator Pacquiao was looking at back in the day. Why are we also... But anyway, so I think he's part of that group. And it's always Magalong. Mayor Magalong was there, rightfully so, in my opinion. But nevertheless, I hope the Mayor Magalong will just go beyond just criticizing what's happening now and last year. Pag-usapan natin, Farmali, pag-usapan natin what was happening during Digong's time. Um, para wala nang issue ng selectiveness or anything like that. But I think Vico also said, okay, ito na. I think this is the time to let it off eh. Kaya nga feeling ko there was an emotional angle to it. And I can relate to that because I believe a lot of things I've said, ibang usapan yung sa Supreme Court. But a lot of things I've said, I was in a spirit of righteous anger, I would say, or righteous disappointment, right? But nevertheless, I always put caveats, including on the Supreme Court issue. I immediately add caveats, etc. So even if I'm not a politician, I understand you have to put caveats because you may send you may have a wrong impact even though you have good intentions. Kaya in my case, not only in the Supreme Court case, but even on the other cases, haabol ako, I'll put caveats, I'll put extra explanations. So I hope Vico comes back and makes another explanation. That this is not an attack on mainstream media, my colleagues in the media. Because yun nga, kaya I felt a bit conflicted about it. Because on one hand, I can see where Vico is coming from, and I think we have to call out if indeed there are question practices. But you cannot just go out there and throw out names, oh, well, not names, but pictures in this sense, and numbers. And I say, well, hindi naman exactong 10 million para alam mo na. Pero hindi, parang hindi. You could have said, million ang bayad or whatever. Anyway, you see, ganun ang read ko dito eh. Kaya nga, I completely agree with you. This is one of the few times whereby Vico does something. You can see his intention is right. You can see where he's coming from. Pero parang, wait lang. I'm not very sure also I'm gonna 100% endorse.
The righteous anger there kasi ano nakikita ko ba't may righteous anger. Personally and objectively, si Mayor Vico, no? Yung personally, na-explain na natin yan, nangampan niya. Of course, magiging rivals yan. Pero yung objectively, in fairness kay Mayor Vico, why should you be angry at the Discayas? And therefore, kapag tinutulungan sila, i-legitimize or i-humanize ni Julius Babaw or Corina Sanchez, maiinis ka. Saan nanggagaling doon si Mayor Vico objectively? St. Timothy, St. Gerard, lahat yan, mga companies sa mga Diskaya, ang daming unpaid local taxes. Sabi yata ni Mayor Vico at one point parang billions in local taxes no to the Pasig city government. Parang may utang ang mga company na yan and of course, they will battle it out with lawyers to prevent paying that, I assume. Yung mga personal pa dyan sa Pasig na objective, yung mga building permits or construction na parang bawal na dapat gawin ng contractor na St. Gerard or St. Timothy, tuloy-tuloy pa din. Things like that. So, nung nakita ni Mayor Vico, remember when BBM said the top 15 contractors sa zona, ang pinakaunang sumakay. And I can't say sumakay kasi grabe din yung pasok niya. Si Mayor Vico, nung sinabi ni BBM yung top 15 contractors because nasa issue na ng contractors at pasok ang mga Diskaya at yung mga company nila sa issue na yon, pinasok agad ni Mayor Vico. And this is just a follow-up. So I think the real issue still here is about contractors and the Diskayas. But of course, na-bring in yung issue ng is the media, mainstream or social media, legitimizing or humanizing etong mga contractors who clearly want to be
But he
politicians
was
and
implying something else. He was implying reputation laundering, right? He was just saying, pinapapogi niyo itong mga napaka-questionable tao. Sana naman due diligence. I think yun yung mensahe na gusto niya sabihin, but he didn't articulate it as directly.
he didn't articulate it very well, but it's clear sa akin sa sinulat niya na features or lifestyle lang nilulusot nitong mga media na to. Allegedly, si Julius Baba o Corina Sanchez, yun yung parang minimension niya doon sa picture, no? Lifestyle lang. So, lusot. Pero, since Vico, and ito yung sinasabi ko din na pinanggagalingan niya ng righteous anger or emotion niya, no? Galing siya sa showbiz industry. Galing siya sa entertainment industry. So he knows yung kalakaran, tsaka he knows some of these people by personality or in person pala. Like talagang kilala niya yung ibang tao dito. So yung sinasabi niyang disappointed, combined yan eh. Lifestyle piece lang daw, tapos kilala niya tong mga tao na to. So disappointed siya kasi meron siyang expectation na they should have been more critical. Kasi ako like with all due respect to Julius Babaw and Corina Sanchez, kung ako ang nasa lugar nila, kahit hindi ako journalist, kahit hindi ako magaling Richard, no, kahit hindi ako matagal sa industry ng media, kahit hindi ako matagal maging journalist, dekada-dekada, kapag sinabi mo sa harap ko na yumaman ka simula nung nag-DPWH kami, may follow-up question ako dyan, definitely. Among other things na sinabi nung mga in-interview ko, meron akong follow-up question dyan. Imposible. One. Second, ito yung mga pinost ko, no? If the reason why you contacted me and some of your viewers would have read, no? Imposible sabihin ni Corina Sanchez na hindi pa niya alam yung mga issues noon. Sabi niya, November 2024 yung interview, may interview din Jan 2025 sa YouTube. Pinull out na din nila. Kasi nga, kinull out ko tsaka ni Inday Espina Barona na
channel yun, Net25 yata yan. Was that
Net25. Pero the interview was by Corina, hosted by Net25 as a platform, no? It was published in the YouTube of Net25. By Jan 2025, ang dami ng issues na dapat alam ng isang normal journalist, not even sa level na multi-awarded like Corina or Julius Babaw. A normal journalist would know na October, nag-file na ng candidacy si Sara Diskaya. By Jan 2025, may connection ng St. Timothy sa mga Diskaya at may connection ng Miru sa St. Timothy. Alam mo na din yung St. Gerard, blacklisted before, under fire or under question for numerous bad projects or mga undelivered projects, etc. So, kapag sinabi mong nung nag-DPWH kami, doon kami simulang nag-boom. Abay, wala kang follow-up question, hindi ka hindi ka serious journalist. So may disappointment na nanggagaling from Mayor Vico doon. Kasi nga, galing siya sa industry, kilala niya yung mga tao, tapos lifestyle lang daw. So parang palusot.
Ako, I'll push back against that in a very different sense. My sense is, di ba, you want to make an inspirational episode, right? This is not your normal hard talk or yung my own show, right? Like it's supposed to be an inspirational show. Kaya sabi ko,
Mm.
ang strategy diyan, due diligence before even you start the taping. Kasi alam mo bakit? Paano naman siya mag-inspirational kung biglang it becomes awkward, right? Imagine mo, first 30 minutes, ganda, successful. And then, wait lang, paano kayo yumaman? Kasi ganito. Wait lang, parang mali. Ganun. Wala, hindi na siya inspiration. It defeats, like the whole thing will fall apart, right? Kaya sabi ko, due diligence, before you do it, siguraduhin mo it doesn't get into that. I mean, it doesn't even need to get awkward if, you have background check. And, do you get what I'm saying? Kaya, ang point ko kasi is, if ginawa yon, hindi na siya inspiring. Parang iba na siya. Is ano to? Parang hustler show ba to? Ano ba to?
Paano siya magiging inspiring, di ba? Eh, hindi naman relatable. Magiging inspiring yan. Kunwari, nagluluto ka araw-araw, sumikat yung kusina mo or yung restaurant mo or yung binibenta mo. Even si Kangkong Chips, I would say, mas
Si Diwata.
inspiring pa yun.
Si Diwata. Let's talk about
Si,
Diwata.
si Diwata,
Diwata,
si
exactly.
Kangkong Chips. Oh. Kasi relatable, kayang gawin yan ng ibang tao, kaya nilang gayahin. Kaya ba nilang gayahin yung mag-DPWH kami?
And if you
Sa,
if you know
sa
how to
mundo,
make the right connections and the right calls and the right positioning, I don't know. Pero siguro ang tingin relatable kasi biglang yumaman and lahat gusto mong biglang yumaman. Let's just be honest. I think it was medyo nagiging philosophical na tayo. But di ka what I'm saying? Like, kasi yung sinasabi mo, dapat may follow-up question. The whole thing falls apart because like, seriously, how are you gonna explain that away? Like, sobrang dodgy talaga, di ba? And kaya nga sabi ko, let's not talk as if we just got to know na may problema sa thought control project ngayon. Kaya, and ako, so kanina I was talking about yung unintended effects, law of unintended consequences, right? Now, my fear is, and I understand where my other folks, journalists, so basically, my journalist friends na legit, they took two positions. One is the moment you do puff interviews and pieces, you're no longer doing journalism, and then let's just be honest about what's happening here, right? The second group is okay. I see where you're coming from, Vico, pero parang ang dating dito is you're casting aspersions on the entire media industry or the entire network or whatever, right? So I see where their responses are coming from. Ako naman, I think what Vico is also trying to do, and going back also to what you were saying, is Vico is also trying to make sure na in the future, hindi na gagawin ito sa mga ibang mayoral candidate na mabuti at magandang puso and then magkaroon ng mga so it's also preemptive in a sense of sending a signal na this is not we shouldn't normalize something like that or something that he feels is wrong. Pero nga, but there's also another picture. I always say don't miss the forest for the trees. The other forest I'm looking at is hindi ba Jesus just it's so interesting that there's so many DDS people coming out now and speaking with moral clarity. I didn't know, by the way, my PhD, honorary PhD, si Mark Villar from UP during certain conceptions, I think, press. Like, really? Like, I didn't know these things. And the next thing you know, Jingoy is calling out Mark Villar. And then Jingoy is saying, nakakadiri kayo. And the next thing you know, Sara Duterte coming in and saying, wait lang, investigate natin ang mga congressman. Although sabi nung isa, tara, start tayo with your. Diba? Like, but this is my point, right? And then I think the anti-corruption guy FD kong kanina said, yeah, lahat ng DPWH at Congress investigate natin, which was immediately dodgy because, oh, what about the other offices? Like, hindi lang sila yung kumita sa flood control
BIR, customs,
or other branches of the state. I mean, we can, kanina, di ba, the last
COA.
no, the other. Oh, by the way, COA. Yeah, exactly. That's not, but no. Didn't you mention that may contractor donation kay Cheese or something like that, or allegedly may isang contractor sa, di ba? So why are we just focusing on the Congress or the executive? We should focus on other branches, right? So what I'm saying is that we have to also avoid allowing questionable figures or personnel or people with other agenda potentially weaponizing also this issue right on multiple so weaponizing this against mainstream media weaponizing this against their own political kanina nakita ko may back and forth si Chua tsaka si Isko kung saan saan napupunta yung discussion. Like, di ba? That's what I'm saying. Like, this
Oh
is
my
not
God, that
happening in the
should be
background.
ano that should be a totally different interview or discussion. Yung nangyayari sa Maynila, sobrang gulo. Joel Chua and
Let's have Mark Gamboa there. Mark is friend with all sides. Alam mo naman, yun ang mga
kasi sinisira nila yung mga barangay halls na nasa kalye daw. Alam mo, ang mahal na nga pinagawa yun, overpriced na nga yun, tapos dinemolish mo. Of course, nagigets ko naman, kalye, etc. But, oh my God.
in Manila. Let's have with Mark also. That would be we have to do another LG episode. But I think Pasig and Vico pa lang is a whole episode in itself. But just on the latter part of our discussion, just kahapon lang I was with Justice Carpe discussing the role of the ombudsman, right? And one of the things we discussed is how powerful actually an ombudsman is if they want to do their job properly, right? He or she, right? During the time of Conchita Morales, we saw some better things. During the time of yung Martires, no comment na lang. You can connect the dots and find it out on your own. But the idea is that in theory, the ombudsman has so much power, right? Pwede niya pa-amlak, pwede niya mag-subpoena, pwede siya mag-act on anonymous tips, di ba? About questionable practices. Can go after even the president, forget about just the vice president. Ang daming pwedeng gawin ng ombudsman. How much should we watch the ombudsman office? How game changer could it be? Are you rooting for Attorney Henares? Who do you think are the good ones among the candidates?
Oh, well, it's hard to comment. Nako, dyan pa ako magko-comment. Ako, ito na lang all I can
Sorry.
say.
To the degree that you can say something on this, sir.
Hindi, I think there are good candidates in the list. Now, it depends on sino yung issue shortlist. I don't want to comment yet on the interviews or yung mga mahabang list. Kasi yung mahabang list na yan, hindi pa tapos yung interview. So, papanoorin ko din yan. Ngayon, pag nagka-shortlist, mas magkaka basis na tayo to give our comments, no, kasi medyo premature pa ngayon kasi nga ini-interview din sila to elicit yung kanilang magiging vision for the ombudsman, yung kanilang judicial philosophy or legal philosophy. So let's see. Ako lang, politically, doon tayo sa politika, wag tayo masyado doon sa legal. Sa political, ano dyan,
Legal, like what are the powers of the ombudsman? Can the ombudsman, this is a mandate basically, right? So dun sa
yeah,
mandato ng ombudsman, ang dami niyang pwedeng gawin dito sa flood control issue, di ba? Pwede na
the
investigate yung
ombudsman
top
is
15 companies.
the ombudsman is actually the most powerful agency, I think, if it wanted to be, no, more than the president, unless the president moves to impeach the ombudsman, which has happened before, no. But if the ombudsman is doing his job correctly and muscling his way politically, meaning yung mga political issues na current, talagang hindi naman sa sinasawsawan niya, no? Pero talagang fino-focus niya din kung may malaking political issue na may legal liability, papakilaman niya, kayang-kaya niya. So, sa flood control, preventive suspension, you mentioned yung mga motu proprio, sabina, etc. Pero ang malala dyan, kasi kapag nag-preventive suspension siya after, let's say, motu proprio, nag-initiate siya ng investigation, may nakita siyang administrative. Kasi ang tinitingnan natin lagi, criminal pasok yan sa ombudsman, pero ang pinakamabilis, pinakamadali, lowest bar of evidence, administrative. Pag may administrative complaint, kahit motopropyo yan, or by complaint, mag-preventive suspension, 6 months, hindi ka makakaupo or hindi ka magkakasweldo as an official. Oh.
I mean,
So that's powerful, aside from what you mentioned, going after the president.
I know it's very, and in this case, even the vice president, right? So kaya nga sabi ko, we're watching very carefully yung final shortlist ng tatlo, di ba? Na lalabas na i-recommend sa president. And then let's see what the president chooses. That's going to be interesting. So dadaan pa to sa JBC as we speak. I think many people followed also yung interviews for justices, incoming justices sa Supreme Court, diba? So this one is also very, very important. We tend to miss now. So for people who are interested, look at the history of Ombudsman Office from Sweden, right? If you look at Scandinavian countries, right, they are the gold standard for accountability. Sobrang low corruption. I think Sweden is one of the lowest ever. I mean, everyone, inis na yun parati sa Philippines, Singapore tayo ng Singapore. Parang, dude, like Singapore is a city state, no offense, and it's not even democratic and open, right? Let's talk about Scandinavian countries. To be honest, mas nakaka-relate ako sa Scandinavian kaysa Singapore, right? Even though magkatabi lang tayo ng Singapore. Like, but anyway, like if you want to get best models, look at Scandinavian countries like Sweden, etc. But so for people to understand where's the ombudsman idea coming from and what's the history of that, But Tito Soto has also is pushing for, we have been talking about this also, the Independent People's Commission to investigate itong flood control. Kasi kanina pa ang pinag-usapan natin, itong mga anomalya sa flood control, anong mga kababalagan. Pero okay, what do we do next, right? And make sure hindi ito ma-politicize or ma-hijack ng mga questionable characters, di ba? So, what do you think about this Independent People's Commission idea of Tito Soto? Medyo mabango si Tito Soto. Ang mga Soto, mabango ngayon bigla, no? I mean, Vico was always mabango naman anyway. But like now the whole Soto name is having the
Baka, baka nahahawa si Tito Sen kay Mayor Vico. Sana lang.
way.
Di ba? Pero I think Independent People's Commission, it's a good idea. Ang problema ko kasi dyan, ano lang din, parang legally, yung powers niya or politically, yung influence niya, it might not be effective or strong. Depending on who constitutes it. And kasi kung tayo-tayo lang yan, yung mga civil society, ako, I respect Professor Shelo Magno a lot, etc. And you, me, the work that we do, mga civil society advocates, it's good. Pero kung tayo yung magko-compose niyan without much legal backing or power, I don't think will be effective. Kasi ang mga isasabpinan mo dyan, bilyonaryo, tsaka mga contractors, tsaka mga congressman or senador. Eh ang mga sa Senado lang, di ba? 8 out of 15. So majority, hindi pumunta yung contractor. Hindi nila napapunta kahit Senado na yon. So what more yung Independent People's Commission? But I agree na baka mas credible yung Independent People's Commission kasi nga hindi naman credible.
I agree, but again, it's also somewhat facetious. But parang point ko, hindi ba sila mas matatakot? Puro tayong mga vloggers like you, me, Christian Esguerra. I don't, like, papahiyain natin sila, di ba? Like, if they don't show up, sabi natin in theory, we can, we may not have as much legal gravitas or weight as the Ombudsman Office, but definitely we will have. Like, this, Jesus, I think I lost you first.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, you were
Hello.
saying. Yeah, you were saying. Sorry, naghang lang yata tong.
No, yeah. I mean, the gravitas is good when they are in our sphere of influence. And what if they do not attend? What will compel them to attend the commission if walang subpoena like or contempt powers like the Senate?
Yeah, exactly. But could there be a complementary role among different independent agencies and ombudsman? Kasi ang laki di ba? We're talking about the scale is 10 times, 100 times more than the Napoles PDAF scandal.
Ako, I think ang trusted ko pa dyan, ang trusted ko dyan, ang model ko is still the Senate. But unfortunately,
Not
Marcoleta doesn't have the credibility. So it should be another senator na walang record of Napoles list before.
And Lacson.
Yeah,
Senator
Lacson.
Yeah.
If Lacson spearheads it, good. Kasi siya, he's credible, he has no track record, he's free from pork barrel,
Right.
ever. And since senator siya, pwede siyang mag-subpoena at saka mag-contempt. Tapos tayo, dadalo lang tayo doon as as additional firepower.
Pagulo. Oh yeah, actually you're right. More like artillery. Medyo backup artillery tayo. No, it makes perfect sense. So that could be the complementary one. What about yung Blue Ribbon Committee? Wait, never mind. Baka kung saan mapuntang usapan
Sa
na.
totoo lang, the Blue Ribbon Committee, I think, should not even be the avenue pa nga. Maybe sino ba ang Public Works na committee? Dapat yun ang handle.
Wait lang.
Right?
Public Works. Hindi pa si Mark Fisher.
Kasi ang Senado, hindi nila ginagaya ang lower house na nagmo-multiple committees.
Quadcom.
Yes.
Or
Why
baka
can't you have a
pwede
TRICOM?
Quadcom din. Baka gano'n na lang sila. Mag-TRICOM Quad. Why not a Senate Quadcom then?
Basta dapat nandun si Bamakino or si Kiko or si
Yeah,
Rizzo.
to have a credibility.
Isa sila sa co-chair.
Exactly. No, anyway, we're thinking out loud here, diba? I mean, we're just throwing out ideas because I think everyone's scratching their head kasi given the scale and also our history, I mean, kaya kanina sabi ko, kamusta pala si Napoles? Diba? I mean, cut the long story short, we didn't come very far in ensuring accountability. Tapos yung kay Bong Revilla, yung chief of staff niya, the whole situation, that was quite postmodern.
Ang napakulong lang natin doon, mga chief of staff, tsaka si Napoles. Ang problema, muntik na tayong nakapagpakulong ng mga senador, kaso napalaya. So, that breeds impunity, right? Napag-usapan natin kanina, impunity. Ito talaga, todo-todo yung nakaw ngayon ng contractors, congressman, senator, kasi wala namang napakulong na senador eh. Sinong nakakulong na senador?
Dati, di ba sila Jinggoy at saka sila, no? Sila Enrile?
Eh wala na. O sino pang nakakulong na congressman from
Oh, wait lang.
Napoles?
Jinggoy is now there and he's very angry, apparently. At he's nakakadiri daw. Grabe daw yung corruption. Galit na.
Nakakadiri na nandidiri siya.
No comment na lang ako. Tanungin na lang si Gretchen.
No, no, no. I have to say it. I have to say this, Richard, di ba? Hindi ba kawawa yung mga chief of staff? Kawawa na nagiging fall guy lang or scapegoats lahat yan. Tapos yung mga boss nila, they can go scot-free because may legal loophole or jargon or technicality na even as a lawyer, nalulungkot ako na pwede mong sabihin, oh, pag plunder, you need a mastermind. Oh, pag plunder, pwedeng ma-forge yung signature at hindi naman niya alam. It only stops at the chief of staff. Pwede ba yun?
Which reflects our political culture, right? Remember, sa daming palpak ni Digong, every time things were super palpak that you cannot deny it, ang sisisiin, anyone except Digong, sisisiin mo yung DOI Secretary. Yung DOI Secretary, sisisiin niya yung Undersecretary. Yung Undersecretary, sisisiin niya yung counterpart niya abroad. It's always like that, yung ping-pong of responsibility. Ay,
Bakit hindi nasisi yung special assistant to the president? Eh di ba sa Farmally pa lang connected doon si SAP tsaka yung mga underlings ni SAP, yung isang kalbo ba yon, yung I forget, yung sa budget sa DBM,
Lao
yung
ba yan? Or Lao? Sino?
Silao, di ba? Kaso yung special assistant to the president naging senador.
Akala mo you were talking about supranational. Kasi,
Hindi,
kasi
hindi,
lahat,
hindi mo kilala si special assistant to the
no, I know,
president.
I know, but
Kaya nga nagkaroon
yeah,
ng
I know
ayuda.
ang point ko. Pero
Oh,
senador din kasi siya. But anyway, but my point is, sabi naman na may delikadeza naman daw sila eh. But anyway, no, I mean, sa kakausap namin kay Humba and Harry and all, itong pag special assistant, hindi na yun ang naalala ko. Ang naalala ko si Supra. At sila Ronald, may theory pa sila. Bakit nag-aaway yung dalawa? Okay. Anyways, thank you so much again, Jez, for this really comprehensive discussion. I think ano, 1 a.m. na. Just last point lang on this, Jez. What do you think the progressive should do moving forward?
kain muna tayo.
Kain ka ngayon sa ganitong oras?
No, no, no. Meron akong dito, may humbat tsaka beef steak
Ano ka
sa
ba?
tabi.
Huwag kang kumain ganitong oras. It's not good. It's not healthy. Nakita kang kaka-chicken joy mo. Baka naman. Baka naman.
Na-mention mo kasi yung humba kaya pinakita ko sa mga nanonood.
Mayroon ka palang dala eh.
Pero sa progressives, I think you're on the right track, di ba? When you write and say na we should plan early in relation with Senator Sonny Trillanes, medyo magaspang ang dila ni Senator Sonny Trillanes. Of course, he ruffles feathers, but he's on the right track in terms of his intentions na hindi pwedeng 2027 tayo magpaplano. Hindi pwedeng 2027 natin alam sino yung standard bearer natin at kung sino yung tutulungan nating manalo sa 2028. Mas maganda malaman natin ngayon, if not next year. In fairness, I don't think it's late if we do it next year, no? It might be a bit early this year or okay lang din, start early, pero I think there's still time next year, no? If in the middle of next year usap na yung mga progressives, ano ang strategy, ano ang tactics, at sino ang standard bearer for 2028, let's go. That's the number one thing. Kasi, you and me, we can talk, we can commentate all we want, pero pag hindi nag-usap-usap yung mga potential candidates and yung mga leaders natin, leaders ng progressive movement, who they will consolidate behind, yung pag-uusapan natin, Richard, ano lang yan eh. Iikot-ikot lang tayo lagi eh. Di ba?
Well, I mean, it's not like there's no interface at a certain level. Speaking of which, we're gonna have Senator Trillanes back on this show next week kasi namin natin catch up dyan. And also, Ma'am Heidi Mendoza. We'll talk about COA, by the way. Medyo may mga late update pa tayong COA nowadays. But I like that we're ending on this one because it's a very important one, no? Ako, I'm very happy to see, ano ba yun, Nutribun Republic pa yan, San Juan Blog. I mean, a couple of people now we know na, where their political persuasions and I won't say leaning, but in terms of where their heart is, coming out and saying actually, or at least in the case of Nutriban people na, yes, magaspang talaga si Sonny Trillanes. And again, I'm saying this as someone who's also quite spicy and ruffles a lot of feathers. Of course, Jez, you're even worse than I and Sonny put together sometimes. Pero mahal ka namin. Because we know where your heart is and you're speaking the truth or truth to power. No, but I am glad that people are realizing this. And then, by the way, thanks to OG Diaz for also making interventions, right? Na this is not about insulting Lenny or any specific person. This is about the fact that the moment Sara Duterte ran for vice president, it was automatically also the beginning of her presidential run for 2028, right? So ang layo ng runway niya. So the theory that wag ka na magsalita, magtahimik ka na lang kasi kung ikaw yung tall grass, ikaw basically the Russian proverb, right? The tall grass is the first one to be cut. Ang problema is, okay, I get that point, except Sarah was always the anointed one. And even when she was kicked out of the unit team, she's self-anointed pa rin as the next president. And all the surveys show she's still the front runner. Rafi is falling off in the surveys because he's not making any big moves. Mahabang usapan what calculations he's making or whether he's still interested. In theory, he has still the biggest power to put all the other forces together. Lenny is in the mix, right? Bam could be in the mix. Many people believe Riza should be in the mix regardless of what the surveys are saying today. It's because ang haba ni runway ni Sarah, and then she has proven that she can keep around 20-25% behind her. So my point is, having said that, starting 2027 or 2026 even, for some is a bit too late because ang laki ng headway. Because Duterte's is not only Sara, right? It's the 6 years of Digo. Lahat yan isama mo yan. So basically, she'll have what? 10 to 12 years before becoming ang layo ng runway nila eh. And there are questions about, okay, pink movement, 2022, okay, midterm elections, this and that. But ako, last point I want to say, Jezna, and I think this is very important. People don't realize, even if for the sake of argument, kasi alam ko ang counter argument niya, Richard, you haven't run a campaign. Alam mo sa Pilipinas, basta last minute we put people together, look at what Lenny achieved. She went from 3% to... I know may ganun na argument eh. Now, you don't need a runway like in other systems like US, whatever. Wala naman tayong primaries, wala naman tayong political parties. I get it. Ang point ko lang naman is, even if by some convergence of factors, Lenny, Risa, whoever becomes the next president, and who knows, Vico is perfect to succeed them because he will be underage pa. Just for people who seem to not understand, Vico is not qualified yet to run kasi 40 yung age. Yung limit, sorry, yung requirement. If you don't build a strong movement now and the infrastructure, even if a Lenny or Risa or Bam or whoever na pink wins, you might not have the right machinery to make sure your agenda is implemented because people keep on forgetting. Even had Lenny won in 2022, she would deal with the Congress, she will deal with the Senate, she will deal, like with all who are not on her side, a lot of them, for reasons that we don't need to even explain. So how do you make them follow, right? How do you make them follow even the president? And we saw with Arroyo, she was the president, but there were times she was defied by the Congress, she was isolated by the Senate, she faced impeachment, she faced coups even. So just because you get the right president doesn't end, the story doesn't end there. In fact, that's just the beginning. So even if for the sake of argument sasabihin mo, hindi kailangan mag-campaign ngayon because blah blah blah. Yeah, but kailangan mag-build ngayon ng machinery so that if you get Riza, Lenny, Bam in, you make sure they get the right people to help them to get their agendas through. Kasi ang kakalabanin niya, it's not like we can control who wins the party list, who can control the Congress. Ang daming trapo, let's be honest about it. And the Trapos will win a lot of them regardless what happens by 20. So I'm just saying it's also that eh. So I'm glad that OG Diaz is coming out. I think people thought I was throwing shades at OG. No, I'm glad if OG does politics, I'm also gonna do showbiz. Fair lang naman eh. Hindi naman tayo nagano dito eh. Um, Ganun lang naman ang buhay eh. Diba? Ano tayo? Hindi naman tayo flood control people, but we're versatile. So, yun lang. So, I'm glad so much. Thank you, Jess, for mentioning that. I don't know if you meant it real, kakain ka ba rin, but please don't eat too much at night. Because,
Oh, but thank you then for saying that. Excellent points. I totally agree na we need to launch it soon. We need to build the momentum. We need to consolidate the movement because the movement is there. If you don't tap it, minsan yung mga tao, they go away kasi hindi naman talagang forever sila nandyan. You have to build the excitement, right?
At note, thank you very much, kapatid. Have a good evening. I hope you enjoyed the time with your mommy and family kanina, and looking forward to catching out in person. God bless. Bon voyage.